2027 BMW R18 shows up like a motorcycle that refuses to follow modern trends. The first thing you notice is not speed or aggression, but presence. It feels massive, grounded, and almost sculpted, like a piece of mechanical art from another era that somehow made it into the present day. BMW didn't design this bike to compete in a typical way. They designed it to stand alone. Whether it's parked or moving, it doesn't just exist in space. It owns it in a way that makes everything around it feel smaller, quieter, and less important. Everything about the R18 starts with its engine. The 1,802 cubic centimeter air and oil-cooled Boxer is the largest engine BMW has ever built, and it sits right at the center of the bike, like a statement that cannot be ignored. The horizontally opposed cylinders stick out on both sides, giving the machine a bold mechanical identity that you can recognize instantly, even from a long distance. When it starts up, it doesn't scream or try to impress you with noise. It thumps, a deep, heavy, almost heartbeat-like pulse that feels more like a living machine coming alive than just an engine running. You don't just hear it through your ears, you feel it through the frame, through the seat, through your hands, and even in your chest. Twisting the throttle doesn't give you a sharp burst of speed or an aggressive launch. Instead, the power builds in a slow, heavy, and incredibly controlled wave. It feels like the bike is never in a hurry, even when it's accelerating. It simply moves forward with authority, as if it already knows the road ahead. On open highways, the R18 settles into a rhythm that feels almost hypnotic. The engine hums with low-frequency strength. The chassis feels planted and unshakable, and the entire machine seems designed for endless stretches of road where time stops mattering. Long highway cruising feels effortless, almost like the bike is doing the work for you, carrying you forward with a calm confidence that never feels unstable or nervous. If you push it harder, the R18 responds with a different character. You start to feel more vibration, more raw mechanical feedback, and more of that unfiltered engine personality that reminds you this is not a refined electronic toy. It is a real machine with moving metal, combustion, and weight. Instead of hiding those sensations, BMW lets them exist because they add emotion to the ride. That rawness is not a flaw. It's part of what makes the R18 feel alive in a way many modern motorcycles simply don't. The Boxer engine layout also completely defines how you experience the bike physically. Because the cylinders extend outward on both sides, your legs naturally sit in a wider position than on most cruisers. At first, it feels unfamiliar, almost like the bike is asking you to adapt to it rather than the other way around. But after some time, it becomes second nature. You start to realize that this design is not random at all. It is a direct connection to BMW's engineering history. A layout that has existed for decades and continues to survive because it has a character of its own that cannot be replaced. The 2027 version refines the design in a way that feels more evolved but still deeply respectful of its original identity. The bodywork flows more smoothly from front to back, almost like the entire motorcycle was shaped by wind instead of tools. The fuel tank looks like it has been carved from a single solid block of metal, giving it a sense of weight and purpose, even when standing still. The stance of the bike feels even lower and more grounded, giving it a stronger road presence that makes it look like it is always ready to move, even when parked. Every angle of the motorcycle connects naturally with the next. There are no random design choices, no unnecessary lines, and no parts that feel like they were added just for style. The chrome is used with restraint, never overwhelming the design while still highlighting key mechanical areas. The paint finish is deep, rich, and layered, reacting differently depending on lighting conditions, which makes the bike feel almost alive when seen under sunlight or streetlights. One of the most iconic visual elements remains the exposed drive shaft on the side. Instead of hiding it, like most manufacturers would, BMW proudly displays it as part of the design identity. It gives the motorcycle a mechanical honesty that modern bikes often lack. It reminds you that this is not just a machine built for appearance, it is a machine built with visible engineering, where function becomes part of the aesthetic. That balance between engineering and design is one of the R18's strongest visual signatures. The R18 family expands this personality into different expressions depending on rider preference. The base model stays closest to the original idea, minimal, clean, and almost artistic in its simplicity, like a rolling sculpture with no distractions. The classic version adds touring practicality with wind protection and luggage, turning the bike into something more suited for relaxed long-distance travel while keeping its identity intact. Then, there is the Roctane, the most aggressive interpretation of the R18 concept, fully blacked out, more muscular in stance, and visually heavier in presence. It feels like the emotional opposite of the base model. It carries a darker personality, almost rebellious in nature, as if BMW took its classic cruiser idea and injected it with modern attitude and street-focused energy. Riding comfort is surprisingly strong, considering the size, weight, and mechanical character of the bike. The seat height is low, which immediately gives most riders confidence at stops. You can easily plant your feet on the ground, which is important for a machine of this mass. The riding position is relaxed, upright, and slightly forward-leaning in a natural way that avoids strain even on long rides. It is not designed for aggressive riding or fast corner carving. It is designed for long, steady journeys where comfort and stability matter more than speed tricks. Technology on the R18 is modern but carefully integrated, so it never breaks the old-school personality. The circular display keeps a classic analog-inspired look, while still offering digital clarity. Features like Bluetooth connectivity, ride modes, traction control, ABS, and hill start assist are included, but they never take over the experience. Even the USB-C charging port feels like a subtle upgrade rather than a tech overload, keeping the focus on riding rather than screens and settings. What truly makes the R18 stand out is not any single feature, but the overall feeling it creates. It doesn't behave like a machine designed only for performance numbers or specifications. It feels like something built for emotion, for connection, and for riders who still care about the experience of riding, rather than just the outcome of getting somewhere faster. It brings back a slower, more intentional style of motorcycling, where every movement, every vibration, and every mile has meaning. This is exactly the kind of motorcycle that belongs in the world of Revive and Ride Garage. A place where machines are not just treated as transportation, but as living stories made of metal, history, and personality. The R18 fits into that mindset perfectly because it carries both heritage and emotion in its design. It feels like a motorcycle that deserves to be appreciated, restored in spirit, and remembered for what it represents, not just what it does. And after everything this bike delivers, its massive engine, its old-school character, its refined engineering, and its powerful road presence, you begin to understand something deeper. The real surprise of the 2027 BMW R18 is not a specification, not a feature, and not even its design. The real surprise is the emotional impact it leaves behind. It is the way it changes your pace, your mindset, and your relationship with the road itself. It reminds you that riding is not always about speed or destination. Sometimes it is about slowing down just enough to actually feel every second of the journey.